I figured it was probably time to dip my toes into the world of Ethos Car Care. Now, I'm sure for a lot of you, you've tested these products and played around with them and might even love this brand, but I personally have not tried a single product from Ethos Car Care, and that all changes today. Now, in today's video, we're going to go through 3 of their products, really, of course, meant for washing your car. We're going to be checking out the Pro V2 foam cannon, the Easy Pull Swivel Gun, as well as their Pure Car Shampoo. So in today's video, we're going to check out if these are worth your money. Welcome back to the channel. Let's jump into it. Well, thank you all for being here today. Super excited to dive into this, and a couple of quick notes before we actually dive into the video here. Number 1, this will probably be a longer style video, so I'll chapterize this out for you. And number 2, something that I want to make sure we're all on the same page about. Ethos Car Care did supply me with these products to actually make a review with. Now, if you guys have been watching this channel, you'll know that really doesn't mean anything. What this means is I'm going to actually be reviewing these products, telling you whether they're great, they have room for improvement, or they're absolute junk, and overall if these are a good value for you. This is a review, not a product showcase. Two very, very different things. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this video actually came to be by the Ethos Car Care guys actually reaching out from a recent video I did on testing out different car shampoos, where I put 25 of them head to head and rank them based on my personal criteria of what I like and very much dislike. And they personally thought their Pure Shampoo would be really high up in my rankings, so they asked if they could send this over, and along came some other products. So I thought this was a good time to check out their swivel gun, check out the foam cannon, as well as that shampoo, see how it works on an AR635, see how it works with their foam cannon, and we'll do some more playing around in later today's video. But the first thing I actually unboxed here that I was really impressed by was their Easy Pull Swivel Gun, and this thing is truly impressive here. Now, this price point, I think even on retail, actually fantastic. So this retails for $59.99. Now, this week has been an absolute disaster for content creators trying to keep up with Amazon Prime Day details, for even companies like Ethos to figure out what's going on, because Amazon controls a lot of things behind the scenes. So don't just get mad at the companies for selling products. There's a lot more than meets the eye there. So what I can tell you, this gun was down to $47 this week, but currently it is listed at $59.99 on Amazon, the normal retail price, but there is a coupon code on this to get it for $50, which I think is an exceptional value here. Now, if you are searching on Ethos Car Care, you can use the code out of spec to save 10% off their line of products as well. So that coupon code for Amazon is going to be valid till June 29th. So if you're interested in this, would highly recommend picking it up during that period of time. But there's a lot of great things about this gun, and starting off with its overall construction. So nickel plated brass internals and fully stainless steel quick disconnects. And the quick disconnects are a huge thumbs up from me. Up here, you have a push to lock 1/4-inch quick disconnect for all your pressure washer tips and foam cannons alike. Down here, you have your 3/8 quick disconnect with a butter smooth swivel on it. This is absolutely incredible. Like many other guns out there, many are moving to this internal one, and I absolutely love these. Now, you guys will also know I recently just switched my pressure washer gun to this, the Brug's Pro Swivel V2. This is an $80 pressure washer gun, which I personally still think is a good value, but when you put it side by side with this is also an even better value. Now, very different overall design. This is actually meant to mimic an SGS 35, and yeah, it's pretty much a direct ripoff of it, but honestly, I prefer this over the SGS 35. Number 1, it's cheaper, feels a little bit higher quality in my personal impression, has a better push to lock, has a better swivel. You'll notice these basically have the exact same stuff going on with it. You also notice here the Ethos is actually quite a bit smaller. If I can get these bad boys to line up here, and I think that's where some of you are actually going to prefer this. Personally, just because I've used that SGS 35 for many years, I'm talking probably 10+ years, this feels like it's absolutely molded to my hands. Now, on the flip side, my friend Cars with Keeve, he actually feels like this is molded to his hands. And I gotta say, it does feel nice. It feels a little awkward for me going to something different. It's like wearing the same type of shoes for 10 years and then trying on a different pair of shoes. They're naturally gonna feel a little awkward. So So don't take this feeling awkward for you at home. Just because I'm used to something, you might not be used to something. I think a lot of you are gonna like this. I do like how slender this is, and the trigger on this, absolutely buttery smooth. Of course, you have a lock on here. Not many people actually use this, but overall, I gotta say, I really like this gun. Now, you'll also notice this is very similar, if not exactly the same casing as Josh's Quiver swivel gun as well. And you'll see that across the industry, there is a lot of these guns made in the same exact place with different colors. I personally really like the colors on this. You have the black and tan, and you can see that goes across the line here, which I think is really nicely done. Now, barring the gun is amazing, what does it actually come with? It actually comes with a single pressure washer tip, which looks like you dipped in caramel, turned it upside down. This is full stainless steel, which is really nice. This is rubberized on it, great. Now this is a 25-degree 3.5 orifice. I don't necessarily think that is the most necessary thing to include. It's nice that they include that. You can always change these actual tips out if you'd like. I'd need a 6.5 for my AR-635 up there. And then on top of that, it comes with stainless steel quick disconnects, M22 to 14 or 15 millimeter adapter here going into 3/8. So the gun, really impressed by it, especially if you can get it on sale. But even its normal retail price, I think 60 bucks for a gun is really impressive. Again, I personally prefer this, just the overall size and chunkiness of it, and some of you might actually hate that, and that's totally okay. Guys, we can have different opinions. It's not the end of the world. So next we move on to the Ethos Foam Cannon Pro V2, and you'll notice right off the bat here, it looks very similar to an MJJC. That's because this is an MJJC, just color-coded for Ethos Car Care here. So personally, I have not been the biggest fan of MJJC style foam cannons, and actually what I found even on the big boy high flow pressure washers, they don't work all that great. But I have seen, especially on lower flow pressure washers, some of the most amount of snow foam. Why they don't work that well on the big boys, I'm not exactly sure. We'll test this out today, figure out how it actually is. Now, the reason I really wanted to include this was the starting price when paired with the actual swivel gun over here. So this retailed for 60 bucks right on their website, and this over here retails for $69.99. If you purchase both of them at the same time, $99.99. Again, you can also use out of spec to save 10% off of that. So seems like a pretty good value for a pressure washer gun and a foam cannon. But I want to dive into this foam cannon a little bit because I am quite picky on foam cannons. Now, first off, personally really like the aesthetics of this, how it matches with the gun, how it matches with their shampoo, if you like that. Now, the first thing I notice here, all brass head on this. Now, at the end of the day, is this a huge ordeal? Absolutely not. You can see on many pressure washers out there, actually, if you buy an AR-635 non-hot water version, the entire pump head on it is brass. I personally think most people make way too much of a big deal about brass and its overall corrosion and its corrosion or lack of corrosion resistance, where I personally think the issue is with brass is actually using it on quick disconnects or turning things all the time. Like if you're spreading a garden hose into it, that's where a lot of those get worn out. So if you're doing quick disconnects, always recommend stainless steel. But for stuff like this, personally don't think it's the end of the world. Yes, nickel plated brass is better. Yes, stainless steel is better, but brass is not the end of the world. Now, personally, just looking at this gun, I do think its original retail price quite expensive for 70 bucks. But if you could get it essentially for $40, or technically $30 if you're buying the gun and the foam cannon, that's where it starts to seem a little bit more reasonable here. So of course up here you do have this dilution meter. Unfortunately, I don't like that it doesn't have any sort of clicks or detents in it. Up here, let's feel how all of this is. Personally, I feel like this swivel is a little bit too loose for my particular liking. I either prefer notches or this to be quite a bit tighter, because these over time do loosen up. Then every time you go to grab this, it's swiveling and now you're spraying, you know, crazy wide angle or a direct beam, and I personally don't like that. This does go horizontal and vertical as well, so that is pretty darn nice. I think overall feels pretty darn good. The biggest thing that I don't love about this is that this is a twist off. Now you guys will see that I use a Griot's Garage Boss foam cannon back there, which is also a twist off. That's one of my biggest negatives. If they could fix that, that would be the perfect foam cannon. Full stainless steel internals in that, really impressive. One thing I actually do love though here is the actual bottle. You can see very nice wide base and it doesn't rock at all. very good job on there. They also have actually printed their little quote unquote sticker branding on here, very much unlike AR with their new foam cannon. That's literally a sticker, which is just embarrassing for AR. But this is actually an oversized foam cannon canister. So not the typical 1,000 here. What I have found is about 1,120 milliliters basically to the neck here. You can fit it up a little bit more, probably right around that 1,150, 1,200. So that might be nice if you're working on bigger trucks, bigger SUVs, especially if you're using a high flow pressure washer, going through a lot more solution here. A couple of other things I really like here. They have actually put a seal in here, which hopefully means this is not going to leak once we get this bad boy on here. Also, what's interesting, not a ton of threads on the actual bottle, but it does actually thread all the way up in here nice. So that was one thing I was worried about. This actually feels great. And one thing I also love is that the logo, when fully tightened down, always faces one way. That's something for me, even on the Grios, they don't do that. They get out of order. This always fits perfect here. So I absolutely love that. Now, of course, on here, they have listened to what I like here. So you can see we do have a stainless steel quick disconnect, and this is my preferred way to actually thread on that quick disconnect. Instead of having to use a wrench here, this just twists on. You don't have to get super crazy. That's all you need to do. So for those of us who actually test pressure washers, changing out orifices to test pressure washers, this is so welcomed. And again, what I was saying here, the internals being brass, not the end of the world. The areas that it matters, fully stainless steel here. Now it does come with a 1.25 and a 1.1 millimeter orifice. I'm going to need a 1.65 for that, which we're going to test out in a little bit. It also comes with a dip tube, which is quite narrow, stainless steel ball at the end. Does look like it has some sort of slight metering tip in there. So again, we're going to test it out with their car shampoo, with my favorite one, to see how it actually works on the car, because I've had a ton of issues on these big boy pressure washers not producing great snow foam on a wide variety of foam cannons. Why I've had to change it up quite a bit. So we'll test all of that. Also, it comes with over here 2 O-rings, which I always like to see. Extras, very similar to the MJJC style. So anyways, over here, think this is a pretty good value. Now, currently on Prime, this is on sale for $58.95 for the foam cannon alone. Again, I personally still think that's a little expensive. If you are looking for genuinely the best foam cannon for the cheapest amount of money, Armor Detail Supply Drift Foam Cannon, $44.95, and this thing's flipping awesome. You can get multiple bottles for this, quick to connect style. You can also get caps for these. This is nickel plated brass on here. Again, not the end of the world, but all of these nice and notchy on here, which I absolutely love. And this is nice and firm. So it doesn't have clicks on it, but this is nice and firm, where this over here, just a little too much play for my personal liking. So overall, the foam cannon's good. For me, it really matters what the performance is actually going to be like, so we'll test that here in a second. Now that we've got our bench review of the tools done, let's move over here to some chemicals and their Pure Shampoo. Now again, the guys reached out in the origination of this video because they were, of course, disappointed their product wasn't in my test. I can't possibly test everything. They also said, hey, we'd like you to try this because we believe that our Pure Shampoo is going to meet all of your criteria when it comes to a great car shampoo. Now, there's a few things I look for in a car shampoo. Number one, price point. So this retails on their website $49.99. Now, you can always get this on Amazon. At least this is what the data shows me from looking at the price history, for 10 bucks less, for $39.99. Now, there is a limited time coupon that runs through June 29th to get this at $33.99. So honestly, for a gallon, most people, that might seem expensive at that $50 price point. If given the performance, overall concentration, I would say that's actually exceptional, but we'll see how it actually performs. Number two thing I actually look for here is the overall snow foam. Now, I am not one of those guys that needs shaving cream style snow foam, but I need it to help me in my detailing process. So I want a good, thick, rich lather on there that's gonna stay put. And the whole reason behind that is after I've done a pre-wash or pre-foamed the car, rinsed it off, then it's time for my contact wash. I don't wanna get around one side of the car, get to the other side, and there's no soap left and have to re-foam it. Having a pH neutral shampoo on there is meant to help with water spotting, also add lubrication, add cleaning power. I still to this day do not understand the Europeans for using a pre-wash, rinsing it, then taking a little bucket and their soap and going across the car. I absolutely do not understand that. I've always always live by the foam, rinse, foam mentality. So it needs to do that. I also want a soap that is concentrated here. Now this is really exemplified by a high flow pressure washer like an AR635 Active 3.0. Most of the soap out there, you're having to use 4, 5, maybe even 6 ounces to actually get any sort of reasonable snow foam on your car that's gonna cling, gonna stay there, and gonna be proper. Now, something that's super concentrated, I'm thinking DIY Detail Incredible Suds Type 2, Quiver Rogue. Those you can use 2 ounces per 1,000 milliliters, absolutely perfect. I don't want to hear GSF and all that stuff having to use 4, 5, 6 ounces. It's just absolutely ridiculous, especially considering the price point, so we'll check that out. You also want to have a soap that is pH neutral or pH balanced. Now, a lot of car shampoos out there claim to be pH balanced when in fact they're actually really more alkaline than they are pH neutral. Now, pH balanced shampoo can be essentially somewhere between around 7 to about 8.5, sometimes even 9 on the pH scale, but once diluted down, they're more towards that pH neutral. The SDS sheet, 7 to 8 on this. So pretty impressive what I'm seeing there so far. Really like how thin this product is. So really anxious to check it out. Lots of boxes ticked here, but let's check out its performance. All right, so I've gotten the car wet now, just like we would after we pre-washed the car. We're ready to spray on our pH neutral shampoo to then start our contact wash. So I'm gonna spray down the side of this car with my standard here. So again, this is Griot's Boss Foam Cannon, 2 ounces of Quiver Rogue here per 1,000 milliliters, and we'll see how this looks. All right, so as you guys can see, super thick, super rich snow foam. It's a little bit on the drier side, which what I find, especially on this, it's gonna cling quite a long time. Now, there is kind of this diminishing returns if you get too much snow foam on it, that it's not gonna get this great cling. It's gonna start bunching up in these big globs and falling off the surface of the car, which Quiver Rogue really, really minimizes that. And again, you can wash, you know, the entirety of the vehicle, still come back, and you still have great cling time. So that's our baseline standard, looking very, very nice there. Very impressed yet again with Quiver Rogue. Let me rinse this off and we'll move over to the Ethos Pure Shampoo. 2 ounces of Ethos Pure Shampoo in 1,000 milliliters of total water, or total solution there, so 940 milliliters of water. Let's see how it does. Okay, so definitely a little different results there, as you can kind of see. It's starting to break apart a little bit, very different from the Quiver Rogue. So I would say this actually has an overall very, very good concentration on it, but it is starting to break apart. So I would definitely say for the higher flow machines, you're probably gonna want a little bit more. And the interesting thing you're noticing here as well, every single panel on this car, even split down the panel, actually has different ceramic coatings. This is part of my, long-term coating test where I have 10 different coatings on the paint, 4 different ones on the wheels. You can see some of the differences between them. But overall, Rogue definitely stuck a lot better, quite quickly, I might add. And yeah, just very different results here. Now I want to see if we just like go crazy on this thing. I mean, you can absolutely get snow foam on there. There is no question about that. So I've also off camera filled up a bucket with 2 ounces of that Ethos Pure Shampoo. I want to feel the slickness on this. Feels pretty good to me. It doesn't, I will say it doesn't feel crazy slick to me, but overall feels, yeah, pretty darn nice. I really, really like the smell of this. Just has a very nice, pleasant fragrance on it. I also, what I'm seeing, this snow foam is quite wet, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, I do prefer Quiver Rogue, just overall the amount of snow foam. I think it's gonna stick on there quite a bit better. Now, again, you could always use more Ethos Pure in your foam cannon, but per my testing results, I wanted to use only 2 ounces, especially if you're spending a lot of money. So yeah, you could bump this up to 3. Yeah, then you're gonna be a little bit better. So overall concentration, I would say, is pretty up there. It's pretty darn good. It's not the craziest. It's not Quiver Rogue there, but overall, I really like, we put a lot of snow foam on here, but very nice flattening effect on there, and it's not globbing up and falling off the surface. But you can see just going over it quickly, like back here, really starting to break apart. Pretty interesting. The coating's doing its job there. But again, if you're doing maintenance washes, that's not really what you want. You want something to cling there. By the time you get back around, the pH neutral soap's doing its thing. You've got lubrication on there. You also get it from your bucket. It's just nice to have 1-2 punch there. So overall, pretty impressed with the snow foam. Not completely and absolutely blown away with it. Still think Quiver Rogue's a better overall shampoo for my needs. But yeah, honestly, for the price point of this, pretty darn impressive. All right, comparing foam cannons now. Griot's Boss foam cannon, Ethos Pure Shampoo in it. I'm gonna spray down the whole side. We'll check out the foam just side by side so we can compare it right next to the Ethos Pro V2. Oh yeah. All right guys, so there you can really start to see the problem with an MJJC style. It is way less amount of snow foam. It's just quite runny, and this is something I've ran into with all the MJJC styles on these high flow units. Now, of course, they work perfectly fine on lower flow pressure washers, things like that, but this really starts to expose the differences, especially when we get to high flow. It's pretty intriguing. I don't know why these don't work so well on high flow units. You would think they would work fine. They just absolutely don't. I've changed nothing but the actual foam cannon here. Same exact solution. And again, you can just see this. It's just really, really runny versus the Griot's over here as I switch back to this. You can audibly hear it too. The Griot's just is putting a lot more air into it. So interesting. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to rinse this off and I'll give you some final thoughts. All right, guys. So wrapping this video up, first things first, I want to give a thank you to Ethos Car Care for sending these products out for me to play around with. I always really, really appreciate that. And I got to say, pleasantly surprised with, testing these products out. I didn't really have necessarily full expectations going into this, but I definitely had some preconceived notions, and yeah, I'm really glad that I got to try this out, and it makes me more and more intrigued to try out more of their line and also fact check and test based on their kind of bold marketing claims that I think we can all agree some of them are quite bold. So we'll get into that in some future videos. But starting over here with the foam cannon, I think you guys probably know what I'm going to say. I've never been an MJJC guy. The interesting thing is I kind of think this is a great price point and also a bad price point at the same time, because this is essentially just an MJJC. A Pro V3 over here, this is $109. Okay, yes, you have some slightly nicer materials in here, but even the plug on here, brass with the stainless steel quick disconnect. The only benefit here is this really awesome quick connect on the actual bottle here. This is an oversized bottle, but $109, no thank you, ma'am. This over here at $69.99, I think if you're an MJJC guy, you have a lower flow pressure washer, pretty decent. But on the same side, I also think this is a bad value because the Armor Detail Splite drift foam cannon exists. I think these overall have better quality materials. I much prefer the twist action on these. All of these notchy clicks that these have, even though nobody actually uses these, or I don't really know why you would, but having the ability to have a quick disconnect on it, purchase multiple bottles, purchase caps for that. That's why I love this foam cannon so much for the wide variety of people. Where I'm really impressed though is actually in their swivel gun, and I think they absolutely knocked it out of the park. No, it's not my preferred overall style, but I think yet again 99.9% of you are going to be blown away with this thing. Even at its full retail price, $60, I think this is a great value, let alone getting it on sale, on a coupon, using my discount code, whatever it is. I think a lot of you are absolutely going to love this. The swivel on it, buttery smooth, 10 out of 10, incredible. The push to lock stainless steel quick disconnect, amazing. Trigger pull on it, amazing. It's nice, light, compact. Really, really impressed by it. Moving over here to the Pure Shampoo, no, it didn't necessarily live up to my full-on S-tier expectations like Quiver Rogue here, but I gotta say, it is a very good overall car shampoo. Would it be something I'm replacing Quiver Rogue with? Absolutely not. Do I think this would work amazing, even paired with this foam cannon on a low-flow pressure washer? Absolutely. And honestly, this might be one of the best overall car shampoos for a low flow pressure washer, and maybe I'll do a video just using a low flow pressure washer to test out car shampoos. But again, the whole process and whole thought behind making that video using a high flow pressure washer was to expose the concentrations. And that's exactly what I did. And it just goes to show that not all of these products are super concentrated like others, even at the exact same dilution ratio. So I absolutely love the viscosity of this. They absolutely nailed it on that. The smell of it is really good. The slickness, no, it's not a 10 out of 10, probably like a 7 to 8 out of 10 for me. Need to play around with it a little bit more, but bang for the buck value, honestly pretty darn good. And I think most of you would really, really appreciate this car shampoo. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to Ethos Car Care for sending this stuff out. All the links will be in the description below. We'll see you in the next one soon. Bye-bye.